Hello, Internet. Today I will be painting with gouache because I love suffering. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another video. This is my new sketchbook that I'm trying to fill with gouache because I will master it. I am determined. Yes, which that fits the theme of this video, which is getting out of your comfort zone. So that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to get out of my comfort zone and use new or media I haven't used in a long time / new media. Either way, getting out of my comfort zone. In the sunlight, these paintings look really pretty, actually. Like, you can just see all the complexity of the colors, which is really nice. But I'm still a little inconsistent on that, delivering that product. So today I am doubly out of my comfort zone because I am also doing a landscape. I don't really do a lot of backgrounds, only when absolutely necessary. So that's doubly out of my comfort zone. We're painting with gouache and doing a landscape. Pretty much, well, I shouldn't say all. That first page of the sketchbook has a lot of random stuff, but I'm trying to fill the rest of the sketchbook with stuff for my personal comic. Just like world building and playing around with it. So, these are my beautiful gouache colors. They really are so vibrant, and it wasn't expensive. It was only like 20 bucks for this palette, so not too shabby. And of course, where would I be without some Prisma colors? There's Prisma colors at all different levels and for different techniques. So some are really expensive, some are less. Kind of just depends how many pencils you get in the pack, and also like if they're the professional ones or the student ones. But yeah. Anywho, back to the theme of the video. Comfort kills creativity. That sounds very dramatic, but I kind of think it's true. At least in my personal journey. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment. Maybe I am just an artist that suffers for their art a lot. I don't know. But I find that whenever I am too comfortable, just like in life or in my practice of art, whatever, it's like almost like I work better under pressure. I work better with a time constraint, a deadline. And I work better when I'm constantly pushing my comfort zone. I would also like to say that, not to sound like an astrology manifestation girly, but I do feel that they make sense sometimes. And there's a really good point that on the other side of the thing you are avoiding is oftentimes the thing that you want. When we meet resistance in life, it's kind of like when you're playing a video game. I compare life to a video game very frequently. I don't know if that's just because I'm a nerd or if it's just a really good example of what I'm talking about. But in a video game, you go towards the enemies and you go towards the puzzles and the challenges to get the reward on the other side. And I find that things in life and also in your artwork, that's just it. It's on the other side of the adversity. The thing that you want is there. I keep complaining about, well, sometimes I complain about how, like, I wish art could be my full-time job and having a day job is win. But I'm also trying to be grateful for all the opportunities that it gives me, not just as, you know, making steady income and being financially secure, but also just me personally. I've noticed that every job I've ever worked, something just triggers my anxieties, my stress, whatever. And don't get me wrong, there is certainly a point where that is unhealthy and you should remove yourself from that environment 100%. But there comes a time where you realize it is you. Like, it is you giving into the reaction. And I think when you're in that moment and you catch yourself and you're like aware, oh, I'm just like lashing out and like reacting. That's where you can change your mind and your behavior, which is not easy. I feel like a lot of these self-help girlies out here, they make it sound like it's so easy to just change your mind or like change how you react to something. It's for sure a process. And I've noticed in this last week, because I make videos weekly and I try to think of things to talk about, but in this last week I caught myself getting like really worked up every time I wasn't really sure how to do something, which at this new job happens a lot, but especially if I was holding up the person that I was helping. Like, if they had to wait a long time, they're getting antsy, they're getting upset because I'm taking a long time, because I'm trying to be thorough and trying to do things correctly. You know, I caught myself being really tense and just really worked up, really anxious, and then it kind of dawned on me. I was like, this isn't exactly my fault. And also, I kind of just said to myself, you know, the universe is at work. I don't know why this person stumbled into my chair and is stuck here. I don't know why. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know if you guys all believe in destiny and stuff, but sometimes we are held somewhere to prevent something else happening to us elsewhere. For example, maybe this person is stuck in my chair so they don't get in a car accident, or they don't, you know, they're not in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is helping their timing for some reason in the universe. Also, I am doing my best. I am just trying to do my job, and I am not sitting here scheming. I'm gonna keep this person as long as possible. Mwahaha. Why am I taking this out on myself? So I felt like I had this like epiphany at my day job, being outside of my comfort zone. I'm taking all my stress out on myself. I am making other people's problems my problems, when that is just completely unnecessary. And I don't actually know, in the grand scheme of things, if holding someone up, making them antsy, if all that is even actually a bad thing. Right? I'm kind of rambling here, but I guess what I'm trying to say is being out of your comfort zone and being uncomfortable is a sign that you are growing. Now, you do have to kind of have to reach through it and, again, get to the other side of discomfort, which I would argue is maybe mastery, right? Get to that point of mastery. You have to be uncomfortable. So whether that's mastering your anxiety, or mastering gouache here, which I'm nowhere near, but I'm gonna keep trying. You have to become okay with being out of the comfort zone. And the reason I said that comfort kills creativity, I kind of think of that saying, necessity is the mother of invention. If all of your needs are met, you don't need to think. Like, you don't need to find a creative solution to some problem if you're perfectly comfortable, right? So I think of, like, when I was in art school, you know, and I had, like, well, my first 2 years, I had a scholarship, thank God, because I couldn't afford college on my own, certainly. But I had a scholarship, and I had to meet certain grade marks to keep my scholarship. And the second half of college, I paid out of pocket because I didn't qualify for any student aid of any kind. It's like, my family made too much money, but debt really makes it feel like you don't have money. But on paper, you don't qualify for government assistance, but we're not going to get into it anyway. I was paying cash for college, so I'm working full-time and going to school full-time, and my life is bananas. But the thing is, I had to be good. Like, there was no other option. And was I extremely uncomfortable during this time with the pressure of having to have good grades, you know? And then when I reached that point where the 2-year scholarship was done, I still had to pass. So at that point, I'm worried about passing, doing well, and making that degree worth it, because I paid cash with my own money for this degree. So that was extremely uncomfortable to have no social life and work all the time, but it also really put a fire under my ass. Good Lord, I was like, I get one shot at this, pretty much. Because I don't want to repeat classes, and I don't want to go through all this again. I just want to be one and done and make it really worth it. So I worked really hard, and it was out of necessity. So the pressure of you have to get it right and you have to kind of do it in one shot because you can't afford it. You can't even afford to, like, redo classes. This is just not an option. It forces you to be creative. You have to find a solution. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? You need to pass this first time. Figure it out. It better be good. And also just learning everything I had to learn. Again, I was like, I'm not repeating this class. Like, I have to figure it out this first time. So, again, it's very uncomfortable to operate in a situation like that. I'm not, like, recommending you have no social. Like, I did a lot of extremely unhealthy things at this time. Like, I mean, you know, it's like a frozen burritos and ramen noodles every day kind of life. Like, like, I don't recommend that. I guess my point, because, again, you know me, I love rambling. My point here is the being out of your comfort zone. Again, it forces you to be creative and to create creative solutions, right? The fire under your ass makes you create creative solutions. And art is kind of always a solution in a way, right? Like, art is very much communication. So you're like, okay, I have this story idea, I have this character idea, I'm trying to communicate X through this character or through this story or through this setting, whatever. and then you have to bring it to life, right? And then if people get it, like if it reached your audience and they kind of got, either they got your meaning or they got what they needed to get out of it, communication wise, that's your solution. I think it's easy to kind of beat up on yourself if you're maybe not at a professional level yet. But I think if you're struggling to know if you are at a good point to like take your art to that professional level and like sell and all of that, that's your question. Am I able to communicate the ideas that my clients bring me or that I am trying to communicate? When someone can take one look at your drawing and like either know who it is or know, they just get what you were trying to say. They got the mood, they got the thing, they get it. Some people would, let me say that's for illustration. Some people would argue art is supposed to challenge you, art is supposed to confuse you, whatever. Let me say, I shouldn't say art. Illustration, especially commercial illustration, is very much about communicating, right? So I think that's a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Like milestone of someone who is like ready to be a professional illustrator. It doesn't matter if you do realism or abstract, whatever. If you're able to take an idea, a concept, and communicate it clearly, visually, you're ready to be an illustrator. That was such a tangent. It was such a tangent, but I have like 45 minutes of video to talk over, so we're gonna go on a lot of those. Buckle up, kids. But yeah, back to the topic of comfort kills creativity. Here I am, gouaching it up, and I am coming up with a lot of things that I would not if I was in my comfort zone. Also, can I just say painting or drawing, whatever, landscapes is so much easier with a photo reference. Cause I see these concept artists and they just whip up some alien planet, like, well, some of them have been doing it forever and they're really good at it. And some of them like photo bash and then paint. I keep thinking I can just do this, like free ball it. Like, fucking we ball. Like, just gonna whip out some landscape from my brain. No, you're not. You have no idea what a port city looks like. Like, you can't just pull that out of your ass. So, I looked up, like, a port city because my comic takes place in a port city. And, you know, the ocean and ships, it's like a recurring thing. And I'm like, I need a photo for this. But, anywho, with gouache, I'm coming up with creative solutions. I'm trying different things, and I think that informs all of your other work. Like, when you go back to your comfort zone, not only do you have a new appreciation for it, but you also bring new information and new techniques to your existing comfort zone. I remember in art school, I went to a regular university that had an art program. It had a pretty robust art program. Like, I just call it art school, whatever. It was art classes. It was a school in which I learned art. This was not a private art school. I didn't have money for that, please. Anyway. Oh, God, I like lost my train of thought. Oh, right, in art school. Oh my God, that long pause. In my not art school, my regular college that had an art program, they require you to take a lot of undergrad courses that are not directly related to your major. Everyone bitched and moaned about it. They didn't want to do them. I liked that even if I didn't like the class, or it just wasn't what I wanted to do, like painting, I just frankly, I was like, oh, I don't want to paint. But it was actually so relevant down the road to making digital art. And it really informed my drawing. Because I don't think what you realize is when you are painting, you think in like sections and planes. And when you're drawing, you do the same thing, but you're thinking more in like contour, like the edge of things, the edge of a shape, not the plane. It's like you're thinking oppositely, but you're mark making. So drawing and painting really do go hand in hand. And I think when you can wrap your mind around both look so much better. When you're drawing and thinking about planes, your shading improves. When you're painting and you're thinking about the contour of things, you can create crisper shapes and edges and just have like beautiful mark making. And yeah, and then when you're a digital artist like myself, where you do comic books, I mean, you have to kind of paint. I mean, obviously comic book coloring is not the same thing as like painting. I mean, unless you paint comic books in your free time. I don't do that. But those skills kind of all come together. So if you're in an art program, don't knock the fundamental classes too bad, because I actually do feel like they help you more than, like, you will be grateful later. And there is a reason that they make you take all those classes. Do I think you should spend more time specializing? Yes. I think maybe like 1 year of foundations courses, maybe 1.5. I think 2 full years of foundations courses, I think it depends. I guess it depends on your level, but anywho, I think everyone wishes they spent more time specializing. But I had a professor ask me, he was like, oh, congrats on graduating. Are you gonna join the graduate program? I was like, haha. I literally just laughed. Like, straight up laughed in his face. I was like, that's funny. I was like, no, I have been in school. God, you're in school for kindergarten, then through 12th grade. So that's 13 years. Then I went to college for 4.5. Like, that's almost 18 years. That's so many years to be in school, and I was fried. Done. Yeah. So no. Didn't do master's program, but obviously if you can, that's more time way more time specializing, which is great, but I did not have the energy or the bank account for that, so no. Crazy story about me graduating. I actually, I was one class, I probably already said this before, I was one class away from minoring in art history. And they only had that course available in the spring. I was set to graduate in the fall. And I was like, do I want to do one more semester? And then I would have, an undergrad under my belt. And I really enjoyed art history. Like, I really enjoyed those classes. So I was like, maybe I will. And then I just got this awful gut feeling. Something was like, you need to get out, and you need to get out now. And then I was just like, all right, I'm gonna forego the spring class. I'm gonna forego the minor, whatever. Not that it matters, but it's like, would have been cool. Anyway. And then I graduated December 2019. And that meant a lot to me. I did not give a rat's ass about my high school graduation, my 2-year school graduation. But my 4-year, I put blood, sweat, and tears into that degree. And I worked so hard to pay for it out of pocket, and I was like, this is my day. And I like never throw parties really, but we had a party for that, and it was like, yeah, it meant a lot to me. And then COVID happened, 2020, right around the corner, and none of my friends had a proper graduation for that semester. Everyone who graduated, and I was like, oh my god, I would have been destroyed. I feel so bad for my friends. Like, oh, it was such a hot mess, and they didn't get the chance to walk across the stage, and like, I was just so grateful to have that. I can't imagine. So my heart really broke for my friends that graduated the next semester, and maybe even the semester after that. That whole year was just a wash. It was just awful for just everyone graduating. So yeah, that was a rough thing, but I don't know, some spirit guide was like, girl, don't do it. And I listened. Glad I did. Yeah, so listen to your gut feelings, y'all. Back to the topic of comfort kills creativity. Yeah, I think I said it. You know, if you're too comfortable, there's just no drive. There's no like drive to do the thing. To speak to what's happening on the screen, I'm definitely gonna layer more paint than what you see in this video today. You just have to let it dry for a little while, so I get as far as I can. But yeah, I find too, even having a day job, I don't mean to like talk too much on having a day job, cause like, again, I love financial security. God, I love money. I do. Trust. But a little piece of me likes having a day job to like rebel against and be like, in my free time, I'm gonna go do my art. I'm gonna work on making this make me money. And sometimes I get really depressed when I'm like, you know, that might never happen. Which, when you have a really bad day at work, that's a scary thought. That's a jump scare. You know, you're gonna have to deal with people for the rest of your life. Scary. But yeah, you gotta get out of your comfort zone so that you can grow. And right now, the comfort zone has been thrown out the window because gouache is really hard. Also, drawing backgrounds is really hard. And drawing port cities is really hard. And I think that might also be why I have been pushing this personal project off for so long, because I have this like very vivid image in my mind of like the setting, but boy howdy, is it pretty difficult to draw, like even in comic style. I just need to find some way to simplify it. I don't know. Like, I look at these beautiful manga backgrounds where they have so much architecture and like little details in it, and I don't know how they do it. It looks so good. And I feel like that's something like that, right? Again, this takes place in a port city, and one of the characters, like, is a longshoreman, and that's, like, part of the story. But, yeah, drawing all these cranes and all of these shipping containers and, like, all this, guess what, guys? That's out of my comfort zone. That is out of my comfort zone. So, yeah. But I won't have my dream project. Right, again, my dream project is on the other side of this discomfort. So I need to stop being a little bitch and just fully embrace the discomfort zone. Watching this back, like, this looks pretty cool. I think I don't know. I hesitate to draw all these teeny tiny little details. I just despise the idea of sinking a bunch of time into drawing these, like, beautiful detailed backgrounds for one panel. Like, miss me with that. But I feel like if you don't put enough detail, especially for something like this, like, I want it to look like a port city full of shipping containers and ships, and, like, you know, that's, like, the in and out that is like part of the, like, background part of the story. And if you don't put enough details, I don't feel that that is going to, like, be clear, which frustrates me. But like I said, gotta take my own advice. I got to embrace the discomfort zone. Yeah, so here I am painting little shipping container blocks, trying to learn something. I'm really surprised I have talked this long. I guess I have a lot to say. That or the 300 milligrams of caffeine pumping through my body, but yeah. So just a thought, don't be afraid of discomfort when creating. It is natural. And you're allowed to get upset. Hell, if you watch my last video, I cried with gouache. Gouache made me cry. It really did. Yeah. Don't let the discomfort zone get you down. It is the only way out is through. I even thought about, you know, I have this saying, sometimes the only way out is down, right? It feels, or like, sometimes the only way to clean a room is to, like, make it messier first. I think that's actually really the energy that's going on right now with this eclipse. Here I go again, talking like the astrology girlies. Maybe I am an astrology girly. But a big part of the eclipse energy, whatever, is, like, out with the old, in with the new. And I think of that, again, I've probably talked about this in another video, just to get the room actually clean, you gotta gut under the bed, you gotta gut out the closet, and you know what? You're gonna make a bigger mess than it was before, and you're gonna be overwhelmed, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, what am I doing? But as everything gets sorted and put away and thrown out and this, that, the other, then the room finally gets clean, right? And everything is in alignment, better energy, the whole thing. And I think it's similar with your art journey, right? You gotta get messy, you gotta try new things, try new mediums, keep it fresh, be humbled when you are inevitably not good at it, and work through the discomfort, because the thing that you want is on the other side of that discomfort. I know I've probably said that 100 times in this video, but it's true. It's true. So, yeah. Moral of the story. Also, sorry if my Discord's blowing up. It's not your computer. It's mine. I'm also really surprised at how far I've come with. Oh, don't mind me bumping the desk. How far I've personally come with dealing with anxiety. And it's interesting. It's kind of like if you don't learn a lesson in your life the first time, it's like you have to keep reliving it. And I think that's kind of like, I don't want to say triggers. Obviously, everyone experiences, mental discomfort differently. But like for me, things would just really trigger my anxiety and stress me out. And just learning, again, catching yourself, catching that, recognizing you are in the discomfort zone. And being like, okay, do I need to remove myself from the situation, or do I need to change my perspective of this situation? And just doing that more. Because it's like I look back on my life and I notice myself handling things so much better than I did at a past job. A lot of my stress has happened at jobs, now that I think about it. But, like, just like leaving a job because you're like, oh, I'm so fed up, whatever. But then going to a worse job just because it's easier. And it's like, well, was I better off before? And then, just dealing. Just dealing with things in a more productive way, in a healthier way, reframing things in a healthier way. I've just seen myself do that better and better as I've gotten older. And I'm very proud of myself. But then, like my last job, I was really comfortable. I was in the comfort zone. And I was like, I had just reached this point where I was like, I've maxed out this job. I'm not going up from here. So I need something new where I can grow. And of course, I had certain frustrations that just weren't going to change or go away. So I was like, let's get a better job. And I felt like I had leveled up. I was like, I have never had a job this good. I've never had a job that pays this much. I'm very, very grateful. But that comes with new stress, and that comes with new discomfort and new fears and new anxieties. Or the fears and the anxieties that have always been there, I just feel like I'm like face to face with them and I gotta deal. But again, it's like my body might want to like run and hide, and that's the anxiety talking. But then logic is like, no, we are in the discomfort zone, which means we have something we need to heal and we need to deal with and we need to grow from. So I feel like the theme of my life recently has very much been growing pains, being uncomfy, and dealing with that. I feel like also a lot of the like self-improvement content and like rich girly content that I've seen, they all say that same thing. They're like, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's kind of true. Again, knowing the difference between when it's time to leave, like pack your shit and leave, versus I need to reframe how I am perceiving this situation because I haven't grown. I haven't grown to meet this situation. That is something I need to do. So that's what I'm currently working on. And I'm trying so hard to reframe things. When you get a horrible customer and you're like, why? Why, God? Why did this happen to me? Instead of, why am I getting so worked up? I do not need to seek external validation. That's also me with this YouTube channel. I'm over here like checking YouTube Studio every 5 minutes. Like, did I get a new view? And I'm like, let's not be a crack fiend for internet validation, right? That's something I need to grow in. It's very uncomfortable for your video to not do well. But then it's like, I need to stop seeking external validation. I need internal validation. If I have internal validation and I'm always doing better than my previous self, I'm automatically winning. Doesn't matter how many views that I have. At least, again, trying to reframe my mind that way. But yeah, just every interaction that I have, I'm trying to become more optimistic. I know an optimistic goth. Ever heard of that? But for my sanity, it's something I need to work on. But yeah, so instead of saying, why me, it's like, okay, why is this triggering me? Why is this stressing me out? What do I need to heal in myself? I think also, one thing that helps me deal with crazy customers and crazy, just rude people and all of this is, you know, I used to get so angry. I remember I would come home angry and raging, and I would like tell my husband about my day and how upset I was and all this stuff. And I feel like lately I'm trying really hard to grow from things, but also be like, what is separating me from this person, this other person that I'm having a negative interaction with, right? So if someone, for example, if there's like a customer that's extremely needy, and like, don't get me wrong, like being overly needy is annoying to most people, but I don't need to get like in a fiery rage over it. Why am I so triggered by adults acting needy? And I know for me, I wasn't allowed to be that way. I was like, I'm the eldest daughter, the family therapist, like a parentified really bad, and it's like I just had to figure everything out on my own. And then I had to figure it out for my sister because I was the oldest, you know? So it's like, so when I meet someone who is like, who's this adult who's like super, super needy, I'm like, a normal reaction would just be like, oh, that was annoying. But the fact that I'm getting so upset and like so triggered by it is like, no, I'm not okay. Like, that's a part of me that's like not healed. Right? And that's why we're in the discomfort zone. So, but I think every time I catch that, I'm like, okay, so what is separating me from this person? I'm upset with them because they have what I couldn't have, which was the space to have needs and be needy. And then when I think about it that way, I'm like, okay, you just therapized yourself. But in all seriousness, it does kind of help me bring the crazy, fiery energy down and be like, okay, that's something I need to heal. That's something I need to... I need to reframe. This is not, I need to run away from this situation. I need to run away from this discomfort. I need to walk through this discomfort. I have to go down into it until it's healed. So, sometimes the only way out is down. This video got really deep. I feel like all my videos get like really deep and like psychological. I'm not trying to be that way, but it just all ties together. And I feel like this is also why I'm an artist. Like, it's a very meditative experience for me, and I think it's a great way for all of us to sit with our feelings. And gouache is really infuriating, so if you need to like, I don't know, like cry and feel rage, this is a great way to do that. I will say, once it's layered, it's really beautiful in person. And like so worth it. Like, here we were crying in the discomfort zone. But the final product, it comes together. And we just have to trust the process, and we just have to trust the universe. and we just have to trust it all. So, thank you for hanging out with me and listening to one of my endless rants. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great week, and thanks for watching.